Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. On today's blade video, we'll be looking at a blade that came in yesterday. I was pretty stoked when the UPS guy delivered it. And finally, I have a blade that I've been admiring for some time. So, here we go. What arrived is my Mk8 Kydex set. And the padded OD pouch is very well done, and we'll get to that in a sec. Kydex sheath is very well done also. Stitching on the webbing is really nice. Webbing's nice and stiff. Attention to detail is spot on, even as a drain hole here. Also, the leg strap has an elastic to help keep the end of the sheath tight against the leg, but allows it to flex. I like this feature here. In case this gets damaged, it can be replaced. Comes with a Pohl Force marked microfiber cloth. In case your friends have really greasy fingers or oily fingers and they touch your blade, just wipe it off. Standard Mk8 patch with a black border. The Mk9 patch comes with a green border. Pictures of Dietmar Pohl with the Mk9 and Mk8. Nice pictures. Also, the COA. I like that little touch of the logo on the bag itself. And serial number 409 out of 1200. Definitely I won't forget the serial number because I'm partial to the Beach Boys, and which I still listen on 8-track cassette. And I love the song 409. Okay, let's get to the main subject of this video. And here she is. The Pohl Force CNC2 Mk8. Serial number 409. There's a signature. And the patent number. Fit and finish of the blade is very nice for a production blade. I love hand-forged blades, but I'm partial also to factory-produced blades. This swedge looks sharpened, but it's not. But the main edge is sharp. Let's see. Yeah, that's not a joke. Okay, let's get to the boring stuff here. Blade steel. It's a 90 CR18 MOV, which is equivalent to a 440C stainless. And it's good they went with a stainless, since this has bead blasted finish here in the top edge. And if it was made out of D2, it can be an issue with corrosion. Rockwell hardness is 57 to 58, which is hard enough. I mean, my vintage Gerber BMF that I used in my military service was only at 52. Easy to sharpen in the field, and it never busted on me. It is a full tang, and we'll get to that in a sec. It is hardened. Cool logo there. The scales are G10. Nicely machined. I like the radius surfaces here. And the point of balance on this, it's interesting. It's right at this edge here. Okay. Now, the blade itself, you know, people ask, you know, take off the scales to the other knife YouTubers. And I did take off the scales yesterday. You know, I just wanted to see what's underneath. And in my opinion, it's not going to devalue the blade itself. And I'd rather know what's underneath than let it be a surprise, you know, out in the field. So here's a picture, as you can see, 409. It is a full tang. They do have a roll pin, and it is hardened, that holds the crossguard in place. The crossguard is made of steel. Comparing it to my clone of the Mk8, which they use a titanium crossguard, but you got all the steel here. This outer shell isn't as hard as the tang itself on the clone one. But what's interesting from both designs, the point of balance is right at the same spot on both blades. That is good to know, you know, especially if you're going to rely on a blade out in the field. But for many that get this blade, you know, they're not going to actually use it out in the field, more for collecting, which is fine, So, comparing it to my actual Mk8 clone. Let's adjust this a bit. When you look at both blades, size-wise, they're the same. The finish is different because this is an AA tool steel. You can see the difference, and you can see the width on the Pohl Force versus the clone. This handle on the CNC2 is wider, but its radius is not as squared off as a clone. And even here you could see the lines line up better on the Pohl Force. And the edges here are radius on the Pohl Force versus the clone. The mounting hardware for the grip scales is different, of course. But overall, you know, this isn't a bad blade. You know, this is gonna be my, how do you say, beater blade. This, to me, is a work of art for a production blade. And the cool part is, it's one of those blades that I can put on display, but if I have to use it in a real life scenario, I know it's gonna do its job. So size-wise in itself, yeah, it's pretty good. The hardest part with getting these blades is the weight. And, you know, to me, this isn't a main battle blade per se. This is more an auxiliary or a backup blade to my battle blade. And in size comparison, we're going to compare it to my old CRKT Shinbu. Definitely a different blade style. And it's obvious what purpose this blade is meant for. Now, let's compare the weights on these two knives. On the clone Mk8 and the Pohl Force CNC2. Let's zoom up a bit here. So on the clone, we're set at 512 grams, which equates to 18.6 ounces. Now the Pohl Force, it's 549 grams, which equates to 549 grams. The Pohl Force is heavier, but the way it's set up, it's very lively in the hand, or slashing, thrusting, feels very, very good. The little clone, even though with a blockier handle, still feels good. Oh, and also I forgot to mention the guards. As you can see, it's a little bit hard. The clone here is a little bit narrower compared to the Pohl Force. And once again, I'm very, very happy with my purchases here. I'm very impressed with the Pohl Force knives, especially this one, and hopefully my Mk8, or sorry, the Mk9 does come in eventually. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask it. Ask it in the comments, and I'll try to answer it to the best that I can. Thanks again for taking your time to watch this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.